Hello, my name is Dale Wilhine. I'm living near Panama City, Florida at the moment. If you want to find out anything about me, go to MySpace or Facebook where I have accounts. I'm also on Twitter. What I'm about to do here is just kind of mention some of the things that are happening on these airlines that are basically sucking up all our money. Please be advised, I'm not trying to pass myself off as some type of expert. I am not. Obviously, when you hear this, there's nothing to it. All I'm doing is giving you some advice and primarily some information as to what you can expect if you catch a flight anytime soon. There's a lot of things that are beginning to change on these airlines, and not everybody may be aware of it. Some of what I'm about to say you may be aware of. All of it you may be aware of. Some people will, but there's some people who don't. First of all, I just came back from Hawaii. I flew Continental all the way to Phoenix, and then unfortunately I got stuck on U.S. Air from Phoenix to Honolulu, where they lost my luggage that went missing for about 3 days. It appeared to have been stolen because it had been signed in that it came in on that plane that I was on. So I went out and bought myself about $200 worth of clothes, and on the third day, when I came back from, I think it was in the Honolulu area, they left me a message that they found my bag and brought it at 7 o'clock that night. But I'd already spent $200 on new clothes. And so it was $200 right out the door. U.S. Air, I'm just sorry. I hate that airline. I really do. Not just that. It's when I flew on U.S. Air to Hawaii, they didn't serve any meals, of course. And one of their policies now is that they don't take cash for anything. That means if you want to buy some food, buy some drinks on the plane, watch one of their lousy movies, earpieces, you got to pay for it with a credit card. They may take debit cards. I don't remember if they take debit cards or not, but they take credit cards. They do not take cash. That's something to remember. Always remember, though, that when you get to the airport, they also don't check to make sure that someone else doesn't run off with your luggage. That's probably, I think, what happened to my suitcase. The wrong person took it, and maybe they didn't realize it until they were, I don't know, someone on the other side of the island that it was mine, and wasn't theirs, of course. And then they brought it back. Why it took 3 days, I don't know, but that's possibly what happened. I personally think it just went on another flight, or it was left behind somewhere, and they would not tell me. Okay, on Hawaiian Air, which I flew back to Phoenix on, and then Delta, Hawaiian Air did serve food. They were giving out free turkey sandwiches and potato chips. That was it. Same thing with them. You buy anything on their aircraft, same with Delta, it's cash. Excuse me, it's credit card only, no cash. That's something to take into account. So if you plan to drink something on there, and you don't have a credit card, they're not going to give it to you. Delta, it's pretty much the same thing. And of course, when I got to Panama City, Florida, Delta lost my suitcase as well. But it showed up the next day. They told me it was on, the day that I got there was on Sunday afternoon. Late in the afternoon, about 5:30, it was an hour late. And they checked and said it was on the next flight. Wasn't on the next flight. Didn't show up till Monday afternoon, late Monday afternoon. So that would have been about 24 hours. So just because they tell you it's on another flight and they'll bring it to you tonight, or don't bet on it. Also remember this, that when you lose your luggage and you file the paperwork with a baggage claim lady or man or whatever, and you go home and you try to reach them again, you might not be able to get a hold of them, because in many of these airports, these baggage claim personnel that are in charge of the baggage go home until another flight comes in. You would think someone would be there all day long because of so many flights coming in on that airline, but that's just not the case, because in Hawaii, I went the following day after my baggage was lost, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and when I went to the counter, the person next in the other counter told me that there's nobody there, and I asked him why, and he said, well, they're not there until a flight comes in. Then they'll come back to that booth there, and they're just supposed to, I guess, hang around and write up anybody who's lost their luggage, and that's pretty much it. So you can't always reach somebody there, even if you go down there or if you call. So more likely they're going to have to call you, and that's something to take into account. The other thing of it is when you get a flight, and you're going to change planes, make sure you're at the uh, airline counter, ticket agent, very early. That one in Delta was an absolute nightmare. I got there at 3:30. It was nearly 5:30 before I got out of there, because you got to go through the whole process again of having your bags checked. You got to take your belt off, your shoes off, and you got to pay for it. Here's the catcher. Here's one that still burns me up to this day. When I'm at the Phoenix terminal, Saturday night, I had to wait from 12 to 6 in the morning. My flight wouldn't leave till about 6:05, so I had a layover. And about 2:30 a.m., my second suitcase, when I brought on board, the zipper busted. The maintenance people there said, well, we don't have a rope, which is, I find that hard to believe. I wanted to tie it around the suitcase. I couldn't do it. So I had to take that small suitcase and I had to put all the stuff in there into the large suitcase. When I went to have it checked in, it weighed 72 pounds. They charged me $115 to carry a 72-pound suitcase. I just about started reaching in there to grab and sling everything out and just throw it over the wall or something to them. $115. Of course, they charge by the pounds, at a certain rate. If it's over 50 pounds, they'll charge you an extra $50, and then they'll add on back. But I still haven't figured out why $115. Okay, so if you can pack two suitcases, where you can carry them by hand and just divide them and carry them onto the plane, you might be better off doing that, because this baggage thing, they're making a killing off of this. So that's something you might want to remember, because if you go over 50 pounds, they're going to charge you. Only one in Hawaiian Air, I was like 51.5 pounds, and they said, forget it, just go ahead and put it on. They were really nice about it. I like Hawaiian Air. The only thing that I don't like about them is their $35 over-the-counter fee if you buy a ticket from them over the counter. But other than that, Hawaiian Air is a really, really good airline. Delta sucks, and US Air sucks. So I just wanted to pass this on to you, and hopefully this can give you some updated information about flying. But those suitcases that you're bringing in, you better really, really try to pack it under 50 pounds, because you'll pay a lot of money. And might want to bring something to wrap a suitcase in where you can tie it in case the zipper breaks, and you can't get no help to get it tied up, so everything will fall out, of course. Something you might want to do is put something inside one of your little suitcases, a rope or something that you can tie it with. The odds that ain't going to happen to you, but it does happen from time to time. But if you can keep it under 50 pounds, and I'd take 2 bags with me on the plane. Wouldn't give it to them to load, because there's a good chance they're going to lose it anyhow. What I did, though, when Delta lost my airline, my luggage, that one suitcase, I made them bring it to me down here in Lehigh, Florida, and it cost them a bundle of money to have to send somebody down here, because I was so mad about the $115. I just let them bring it instead of going to get it myself. Anyhow, that's all the time I have. I'm just trying to pass on some information to you, to anybody that's about to travel, and hopefully you can save a lot more money than I did. Be very careful about flying US Air. And again, credit cards, you're going to need one. Or just eat a good meal before you get on the plane.